Hey guys, look at this beautiful turkey. I'll tell you what, if you're looking for something really tasty for your holiday, for your special occasion, give this recipe a try. You're going to love this bird. Hey guys, welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode, we're making a turkey. Now, turkey is delicious. Turkey is North America. This is where turkeys came from, okay? And they're fantastic. What we do is we cook these things up for our holidays and use it as a very special meal. And that's what it is. It's a special and delicious flavor. And when it's done right, it's juicy, it's delicious, and it's everything that good holiday food should be. Good celebration food. I've got a lot of fantastic ingredients out here. Let's go over what I've got these things out here for. And let's cook up the very best turkey that you're ever going to put in your mouth. Come on over. Ingredients, let's start with the bird. I have here what's referred to as a young turkey. This is about a medium-sized turkey. This one is about 13.5 pounds. I have what we refer to as aromatics. When you're cooking a bird, often we'll put in what we call aromatics. Rosemary is an aromatic. It's a very strong scent. So is garlic and so is lemon. They both provide beautiful odors and flavor. Some of this rosemary is going to be chopped up and used with some thyme and with some sage. And I'm going to mix them into this. A lot of people like to use butter for this. And I'm going to explain why we're going to use lard here in a little bit, but I'm using lard. Some folks like to put bacon on their turkeys. The whole idea behind putting either butter or lard or bacon or whatever onto or inside of a turkey is to lock in moisture. These are big birds. They take some time to cook, and you're going to need something that's going to help seal in moisture. And if you have something that gives flavor while that's happening, even better. So folks use butter. Sometimes they put bacon over the outside of it, but I find you don't get that beautiful skin that way. So I'm going to teach you a way of getting the fabulous flavor of bacon, also the juiciness that putting bacon over the outside of a bird gives, and still getting that beautiful skin. In my pan under the bird, we need something in there too. So I have some water and wine. I'm using white wine and water, about 2 cups. In this bowl, I have what's referred to as the giblets. In the South, we say giblets, okay? So if you hear somebody say giblets, don't laugh at them. It's just a different way of speaking. And we're going to be making a fabulous gravy with these items. The neck, the meat, is going to go into the dressing that I'll be making later in another show. And it's going to all just come out with super fabulous flavors. That's what this is saved for, strictly for flavor. Let's go ahead and get that fat prepared. Now, again, turkeys are a really, really lean bird. And like I said before, we're going to use fat to help seal in flavor and moisture, and it's going to add some flavor too. On my herbs that I'm using, first thing is some thyme. And I'm going to put into this about 1 tablespoon of thyme. I'm going to add approximately 1 tablespoon of sage. And then we're going to want some of this rosemary. I have about 2 tablespoons of chopped rosemary. That's about a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to increase it to 1 teaspoon. I believe I've worked that through well. I can start stuffing my bird with it. Now, when I'm preparing my bird, there's several things I need to do. Not really difficult things, but we need to get them taken care of. I need to get the fat under the skin. I need to get the legs tied together. I need to get these wing tips so they're not sticking up so they don't burn. So the first thing I want to do is I think I want to deal with those wing tips. I poke those holes here and here, and I want to use this, put it on my finger, and just take my finger and push it right up through the hole I made in the little wing. There we go. The nice thing about doing this way is it keeps this delicate wing meat tucked underneath the bird. It allows the juices to flow down into this, and it keeps them nice and moist. Beautiful thing to do. So I've tied that off, but those wing tips are still going to be sticking up. So I'm going to twist them right behind its back, and if I have to break that joint a little bit, that's fine. Don't worry about that. Bring him up, just like so. Let's turn our bird over. Our wings are dealt with. We're done with that part of it. Now I have the fat I need to get in there. Take about half of that lard. We'll pack it up in here. Just like so. And don't worry about being neat about this. It just needs to be in there. Now I need my other string. I've got a bit of a mess here, but that's, again, okay. Let's tie up that back leg. And the other one. I've got this flavorful fat going on in here. Now I've got just a little bit of fat left, and I'm going to want to use it on the outside. Before I do that, I'm going to dry this gently. The reason I'm drying it is to help the rest of that fat set up on that skin. There we are. I'm just going to give my bird a gentle rub with this. Not hard. We have a thin layer of fat on the outside, a good layer of fat under the skin. It's going to flow down into the meat and flavor it and make it wonderful. Let's go ahead and stuff our bird with our aromatics. As I mentioned before, we have some different items. Got some lemons, I have rosemary, and I have some garlic. And the garlic, just take a knife and split the whole thing right in half, just like that. Isn't that beautiful? We're throwing it all right up in there. These lemons, quarter them. We're going to toss some lemons in here, get some garlic in there, more lemon. Wow, that smells good. Get my rosemary stuffed up in that carcass. We've got us a bird filled with aromatics and ready to get in the oven. Now I've got my oven at 325 degrees. All right, wine and water into the pan. So the bird goes in the oven. All right. There we go. Turkey is in the oven and we're up and cooking. I have a 13.5-pound bird, and we're looking roughly about 3.5 hours of cook time. I want an internal temperature between 165 and 185. The advantage to not cooking with the bird heavily stuffed, you want heat to get up inside of the cavity and cook the meat from both sides so you get even cooking. If it is stuffed with something really dense like a stuffing, well, then you're going to run into a problem where you have an uneven heat distribution. Easy to get the outside of the bird and the meat cooked, but the problem is a lot of dressing uses egg in it. They put raw egg in it, and you have it stuffed in the middle of this bird, and then it doesn't get hot enough. So then you have egg that was improperly heated and dangerous. Folks, this is just a matter of physics when you get down to it. I'm taking heat energy, the heat in my oven, and pushing it into the item I'm trying to cook. So I'm trying to get heat in the middle, and I need to get that center temperature up to a certain degree before it's done. If I have stuffing in there and the stuffing takes an extra hour, hour and a half to get it cooked, by that time that meat on the outside of the turkey is starting to get a little dried out. Some people say, yeah, but I solved that by simply putting bacon over it. Yeah, you can do that, but then that's a lot. I mean, if you think I used a lot of lard, think about a whole bunch of bacon covering the whole bird. It gives good flavor, it keeps the bird moist, but it isn't necessarily the best option. What we're looking for is to get sort of a perfect balance going on here. Even cooking, juiciest meat, best flavors. I can't get aromatics inside of my bird if it's stuffed with cornbread and bread and other items like that. Don't want to do it that way. But on this method, we get a better brown skin. You know, you like that part of it. So we just got to give it time now. As my items are cooking in the oven, I need to go ahead and cook up my giblets. So I'm going to put all of that right in there. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. It's about a half a teaspoon, maybe 3/4, somewhere in there. A couple cups of water. And all I have to do is cover this and gently simmer it until the neck meat is falling off of the bone. When I reach that point, then everything is ready. All right, guys, go ahead and get some eggs in some water and onto some heat. Now, what we want to do is bring these up to a boil. As soon as this comes to a boil, I'm going to turn the heat off, cover it. I'm going to let them stand for 10 minutes, and then we're going to transfer these to some cold water, a bowl of cold water. At that point, the eggs will gently cool down, and after about 10 to 15 minutes that way, we're ready to peel them. Now, we're going to need these hard-boiled eggs for both the giblet gravy as well as for our dressing. Guys, I have just pulled my bird out of the oven. It's still steaming. It is beautiful. Now let's go ahead and save back the drippings from that turkey. I don't want a lot of the solid material that's in this, so I'll have a strainer to catch it. We need to go ahead and get those gizzards processed out. What I want to do is to fine chop all of this. When I said fine chop, I meant fine. You don't want big chunks of this. Okay, now I'm going to return all of this to the pan that I took it from. Back into those same juices. Now that extra hard-boiled egg is important. I need this in the gravy, but it's not going to be cooked in. It gets put in at the end of cooking the gravy, because we want the flavor of this egg to be intact when we get it to that gravy. This sets aside until the end of the gravy cooking, and then we just simply stir it in. Let's go ahead and get this gravy going. Now I'm going to put a flame underneath my front burner here, and I want that to be a medium flame to start with until I get this up to a nice high simmer. Then I'm going to pour in this turkey drippings. There we go. After this comes to a boil, I then want to put in a thickener. And the thickener I have chosen for this one, remember, this is an old world recipe, so we're using old world methods. A little bit of flour. I've got it in a shaker. I'm going to put some water in there and shake it up. Pour it in this to thicken it. Our liquid has now come up to a boil. I'm going to go over here. Let's put a little water in our shaker so you'll know how much I've put 1/2 of a cup in my shaker. I'm going to pour in about a cup to a cup and a half of water. That lid on it and shake. Remember, only cold water. Pour it right down in here. I'm not pouring all of it in there, only about half. I'm going to let it come back to a boil, and if I need to thicken it more, I may. This is important. Take a spoon, put it down in here. You can look at your consistency this way. How well is it coating that spoon? Let me taste this. Okay, it's almost where I want it. I'm putting in just a little bit of salt. There we go. I want to add just a little more of my flour water. At this point, what I'm going to do is just let this sit and simmer. I'm going to simmer it for about 5 to 10 minutes. The idea there is you want to cook out the flavor of that flour. You don't want it to have a raw flour flavor in the background at all. The only way to get rid of that is to cook it off. So that's what we're going to do right now. A beautiful gravy to go with a beautiful turkey. Didn't that come out nice? Our gravy has now thickened up. I'm dropping the heat to it. I'm going to pour in my egg. And there we go, folks. that is finished. Well guys, there it is. One beautiful turkey. Look at that bird. I mean, that is some serious business right there. You know, think of it as I was mentioning to you earlier, when I said go ahead and let it rest, and how that meat would come out so beautiful, and it's tender and delicious. Oh man, I think the only thing better, and look how tender that is. A little bit of gravy. Heavenly. And the flavors, got all these herby flavor in it, and a nice background of just, like I said, light hint of that bacony, kind of ham-like flavor that was from that lard. Folks, I really hope you give this a try. This turkey is delicious. It's worth having. Thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today and watching this show. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you very, very much. If you haven't subscribed, why not? There's great recipes coming out all the time. Give it a try. And please, folks, please share my recipes. That's the best way for me to grow this. Folks, have a good day. Goodbye. Hey guys, thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today. Do appreciate it. If you would, please subscribe. If you like this, just click like down there, and if you would, I would really appreciate it if you add me to your favorites. Thank you.